So, for the folks that don't know, tell them how you got involved in Star Wars to begin with.
Well, it was quite a long time ago. I mean, Anthony Daniels holds the record for being in most Star Wars films over a long period of time, but I'm in the number two place. It happened one day. My agent phoned, the way they do, and said, George Lucas wants to see you. I thought, okay. And then I knew that Star Wars was being filmed, Return of the Jedi, to be precise, down at Mill Street. So I thought, but then I heard they'd already started shooting, so it's maybe about something else. Anyway, a car arrived, I went in it, they took me to Elstree. It was their lunchtime, because indeed he was shooting. Richard Markman, the director, and George came in, said hello, and we chatted about, the weather, England and America, and then he said, very nice to meet you, thank you for coming out. And I thought, oh well, whatever it is. I got to meet George Lucas, that's good. And then as I walked out of the door, I overheard behind me George say to Richard, that guy's got a great nose. So I thought, oh well, at least he likes my nose. And then I got back and my agent called and said, you've got the part. I said, oh, great, but what's the part? And he said, give me a minute. No, agent, leafing through his endless bits of paper. Apparently, he said, it's called the Emperor of the Universe. So I said, well, I guess we'll be doing it then. So that's how it all started. And then I did 3 movies, with spaces in between. Climaxing in that series in Revenge of the Sith, which has just had, somebody's been seeing it recently perhaps, it's just had its 20th anniversary. It may still be available in cinemas over here. Anyway, we're seeing it, but they improve everything, except my performance, set in stone. Then the next phase, I got a call years later, when I was very much older, approaching the age I am now, which is sort of the age of the character in Return of the Jedi, there you go. And it was J.J. Abrams. That was very nice, charming, faithful. Hi, Ian. I'd love to meet you. This is a confidential telephone conversation, of course, but we're thinking of bringing the Emperor back. What? I said, he's dead. And I'm getting older, I haven't really got to that stage yet. No. I said, yeah, we think he's survived. And behind the rest. So I was once again awakened, third time lucky. A lot of people said, well, I'm not sure about this. I mean, that was a pretty long fall, and you seem to be in agony as you fell. How can you possibly have survived that? I went, well, he's the Emperor. In other words, always had a plan B. So plan B was get best dynamic, quite short, surgeons available, and all the latest scientific equipment, and get the body restored as much as possible because the mind was still intact.
How do you find that darkness inside of you being so lovely in English?
Well, Scottish, if you don't mind. The end thing with the darkness creeping out. A little bit though. I don't know. I think I wish it was on strong. If you're an actor, you can sort of observe people all the time, think, I suppose, happen inside. And if the words do it to you, it comes out. But I think we British, we seem to be always after labor. It's a little more regularly than Americans. So there's a very long list of distinguished American abilities too. It may be something to do with local quality and everything else. But it's always exciting to play somebody with a backstory. And by goodness, as you know, the Emperor had a very big backstory. So to present one thing and then something else going on, as an actor, that's always exciting. And George said a very good thing to me when we were just beginning to shoot the Phantom Menace. He said, you should think of your face, Ian's face, as Mars, and your eyes, Ian's eyes, as artificial. So in other words, me, more or less, as you saw me a good few years ago, was a mask, underneath which was this horrible animal monster, represented by Darth Sidious, and that was very useful as an actor. And he said at any time the real person might burst through, but only probably when the time is right. So that was very useful. So I could keep his anger still present until I can unleash it. And my face and body changed, after I got rid of Sam Jackson. I mean, always Sam, please. And which, no, a big loss actually. I wish he was still in the franchise. But then after that, George said, you just let yourself go into this monster. And when we shot that scene, which I'll confess to you now, I think is a little over the top, I said, shall I take it down a bit? He said, certainly now, go further. So I went further, and you see the results.
How did you find the Emperor's voice?
Yeah, well, you hear my voice, which is sort of deep, sort of semi-baritone, but I speak naturally, like the English, that's what I'm doing, yes. And I saw his face. The face led to the voice. You see, I was told I was going to be the Emperor of the Universe, and then I was straight into costume. And I thought, what does an Emperor look like? An old man in a black cloak with a hood? I don't think so. But of course, that's the genius of the part. And what does he sound like? Well, once they made me up 4 hours later, and I stared into the mirror at that horrible face, I screamed, of course. Then immediately after that, I thought, well, he looks like a toad. He looks like a sort of repulsive reptile. So we should sound like that. The voice needs to come somewhere like that. As if he's about to be sick. He wasn't, but people looking at him, it felt like it. And so it just arrived. And I used it obviously when I put on the first day of shooting. Nobody said, okay, stop or anything. And then halfway through shooting, Richard Markham said, if I'm going to give you a tape of Clive Reynolds' voice. Now you probably know Clive Reynolds was very sadly died recently, or 2 recently. And he had voiced it in Empire Strikes Back, but he didn't play it because this was an actress in advance. And I think if he'd seen the face that the Emperor ended up having, he would have changed his voice too. So anyway, I kept on doing my voice, and nobody said stop. But then we went to the recording studio, and most of the film 3 books. In those days, they found it very difficult to separate the great THX sound from the noise in the studio, so you had to do it again. So I was there in the studio in London. George had invited Steven Spielberg along and Kathleen Kennedy, whom I hadn't met, no pressure. And I started the voice. And Steven said, oh my God, you're so evil. I thought, oh, well, that's a good sign. So then I knew I would give him the voice, and that's how it happened. I'm lucky on all sorts of fronts. So I had as we said earlier, a character who really developed, changed, and could show different aspects of the technique of power. And that's always interesting me. People could have power. Think about them as they always want more. It's never enough. It's like people who've got lots of money. They always think they want more. And they think, well, what can they possibly do with it? But give it to charity, that's a good thing to do. But there's something about being better than anybody else. So you certainly wanted to be. And you also wanted to take revenge on all of the people he hated all of his life and who stood in his way. And, he may be a science fiction character, but people around easily draw in real life.
I love the fact that now everybody has been introduced to you and they realize that you're not this evil person inside. Before they go upstairs to meet you here in just a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, the last bit.
Oh no, because there's
you're going to come
autographs
that's
and photographs.
Yeah. It's human there. That's good.
So is there anything you're excited about seeing in South Africa while you're here?
Well, the company who invited us here very kindly arranged some great things. There's a wine tour. I'll just be testing, of course. I wasn't really drinking. Not much. And, well, I mean, not drinking much. Yes, I know your words have been out all over the place. We have brothers and alcohol. Only at the weekends. And then we're going to go, am I going to go everything that's nice about Cape Town, South West? fun of that. And then there is a small safari because we haven't got time to go west, I don't think. And that happened on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday after I've seen all you nice ladies and gentlemen. So I've got a nice time. I'm grateful to you all for inviting me.
Well, look, we are so excited. Look, this is the busiest weekend for anything Star Wars related. So
Yes.
the fact that you picked here to be of all the other places you could be, I'm sure we all really appreciate you joining us here in Cape Town this weekend.
They want me to come back tomorrow. Well, that's what they said before I came on. So I'll be here same time tomorrow and maybe able to answer some of your questions, which I'd like to do. See you then. Oh yes, hi.
Will you be in any future Star Wars projects?
Well, I'm not going to tell you.
My question to you, necessarily with my character that I'm playing. So I noticed, especially in the throne room in episode 6, pretty much anything you said, you wanted this, the way you were saying it, obviously, you know, just wondering, have you sort of process?
We're losing you.
Why-
Put
why
the
not-
microphone
why-
by your mouth.
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering if you had any sort of acting process that you use, like anything you said to be like, I hate what this guy is saying. You know, you want to be like, so be it.
Yeah. Oh, the front room, see which one? Which film are you talking about?
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, okay. How did I find my hatred? I don't know, I sort of brought it in with me, you know. Put it beside that big chair and picked it up. Serious answer to your question. I don't know, it just seems to be there. You know, when you get the script and it's fairly clear what the character's like, as an actor, you sort of go there. And because we talked about this yesterday, once I saw the face that they put on me, brilliant Nick Duggan, wonderful makeup artist, responsible for all of Harry Potter now. He was just, you know, working his way up in those days. And he put the face on me, I saw it, I screamed, and then I found the voice physics. And so I just thought about it as a horrible, slimy reptile in some way, and the voice came out. So that's what happened. Thank you. Loyal apprentice. That's even there for the next 5
Oh, you know, why don't we let you hang on? Wait, let's let you practice on the adult real quick. We don't. That way, if you burn an ear off or something, he works for the convention, so you know he's expendable.
You know what I'm going to say, which is right.
Well, now you have some shorter people here, so
Very good.
you might
Showing
recognize.
Fortunately, no you won't. Hello, hey, you're my young apprentice already. Very good. You've been in training, I can tell. Here we go. I feel like King Charles. You want the other one as well? No? Yeah, the other shoulder? Yeah. Right. It's sort of, yeah, you're on the way to being surfers. Keep trying. Here we go. 1 and 2 and right. I mean, I've heard of narcissism, but knifing yourselves really takes the best of it. Okay. Very good. Oh, it's Darth Maul, I see. I didn't see your red face. I thought that was embarrassment. Here we go. 1 and 2 and rise. He knows, but I prefer to keep my secrets in my fingers. Thank
Well,
you.
my favorite moment I wanted to share with you,
Okay.
that you don't know about, at Star Wars Celebration this year,
Yes.
they had Sam Witwer come out,
I'll go.
and he did what was referred to backstage as an Ian McDermott,
Really?
which is he came out after the trailer playing and said, "Play it again."
Oh,
Just like it. So that is called an Ian McDermott.
is it? Very
Yes.
good. Play it again. I should, yeah, play it again, Sam would be a good thing to say. It's Samuel Jackson, wouldn't it? But I killed him long ago. He's still around, apparently.